But I offer that up as an example. There were plenty of people that did have these undertones of like, what's really going on out there, and Reverend Wright was one aspect of that. Bill Ayers was another. Tony Resco was another. The Republicans tried to tie these sorts of associations into questions about Barack Obama's judgment of the people he hangs out with, but the voters didn't care that much about that because all they really care about is who's going to be out there fighting for me every day, and that's what makes it successful.
I understand that intellectually, but there are many people in this audience who share with me a much more visceral response that goes towards a trend where there are many people who we believe are voting against their economic and household interests because of race, right? And even corporate media loves to talk about it. But essentially, white people who are in an economically deleterious situation, who found ways to not vote for someone who clearly would offer them more solutions than the other. So what was so unique about Barack Obama getting folks who traditionally would not vote for a black person, and statistically have not and would not vote for black people for mayor. So again, I'm in a machine-run town. 8 out of 10 voters are Democrats. I don't think of the 3 black mayors in Philadelphia's history, I don't think a black mayor has ever won a majority of the white vote, and these are Democrats. These are not Republicans. So maybe this is why you're afraid up to 8 o'clock at night on election day. But so what happened? What happened?
Well, it's an excellent question, and it requires a sober answer, because I really do think that we had an alignment of a lot of different factors that occurred during the 2008 election season that allowed us to elect Barack Obama. And I don't want anyone to think that this was something that isn't going to be hard in the future, because I heard the other speakers before us today that talked about the need to be vigilant. And the answer to your question, and your premise is accurate, that there are a lot of white Democratic voters that are not voting for an African American for president because of racial concerns, and you hear this all the time. I heard, before I answer your question, one other anecdote. The focus groups, at the very end, one of the areas where McCain did get some traction was on his tax policy with the spread the wealth, Joe DeParno stuff, I'm sure everybody here is aware of.
And there was really traction around that?
A little bit at the end, and the reason was, this gets back to the racial issue here, when we pushed people about what do you really fear about Barack Obama's tax policies. And some people would say, well, it's Rob, that he's taking from the rich, he's giving to the poor. These are the people that are buying a little bit to the McCain message. But when we really pushed them, some of these people that still haven't been able to get over race, we're thinking, well, he's going to take money from us and give it to them. And that's the sort of thing that is still out there. And I don't want anyone to think that's not still out there. It's still out there. Just because Barack Obama won the election doesn't mean there's all this fear that he's going to be for them. And we push him, and then some people would say who that is. But the answer to your question about what happened this time was, I always tell people that the bottom line of what we found in this election was that the risk of the status quo was greater than the risk of the unknown. Here, Barack Obama was the unknown, but the people were so unhappy with what's been going on in the last 4 years. And that's why this message, more of this is bullshit. McCain is more of the same. Same old. This is stuff that stuck with people. And their self-interest got so much a part of this election that even though some people would not normally take a chance on voting for an African American for some of the white Democrats.
So the world is ending. We'll give it a shot.
The world's ending. The world's exactly right.
Well, a lot of people joke in community colors like we have the most opportunity to win an important office when that jurisdiction is the worst off.
That's right.
Harold Washington, 25 years ago, I was at the victory party there. I was 13. It was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. The city was in a bad situation, but there was great hope, grassroots, multiracial alliances. It was very similar to me. Let me ask you about kind of ethnic differences corporate media said, why do Latinos hate black people? And why do we never get a single Latino vote? Or Hispanic, they would say, pardon me. Hispanic Americans. What did you find out about trends among various ethnicities in the Latino community? Because they're communities, not a community.
Yeah, no, that was one of the most exciting aspects of the research we did in this campaign. We were doing focus groups back in January, well actually all throughout 2007, even earlier this year we did African American groups in South Carolina. There was like a sea change that occurred there. We also did with Latino voters and Hispanic voters in Mexico and Nevada. And early on, we did hear some concern, some racially based concerns that came out of some of those early groups, especially when Hillary Clinton was someone that they felt more comfortable with, especially among the Latino communities in some areas. But what, you know, and then I was very upset about that because here we heard McCain's campaign saying, well, we're going to take all those Latino people that voted for Hillary, we're going to bring them into our camp. As if, you know, not voting for a black guy was number one on the list of Latino voters. Right. But, you know, that says it all right there.
And how many did you get? What was the percentage of that?
I think it was 65, and it was like 11% more Latinos voted for Barack Obama than John Kerry when he was there. A huge victory. And a lot of this was outreach, and, you know, and again, I think that the campaign did a really good job of going into having a dialogue with leaders of communities of color other than African American community. That was incredibly important then. There's a coalition that came together because people wanted change, and at the bottom line here, when we went into the Latino communities throughout the country, they were saying, here is a man, Barack Obama, who's talking about the issues we care about, and you know, and I don't want to be Pollyannish about this, but the skin color of Barack Obama didn't matter at that point. It was this is a guy that's talking about our interests and dealing with our issues, and that's what we want.
Well, let me use that to segue into, well, maybe the last exchange. When did Barack Obama become really black, but not too black? And did that at all overlap with South Carolina?
It absolutely, yeah. This is a 10-minute answer. We have 2 minutes for it. South Carolina, I think, was a turning point that really caused Barack Obama. Well, two of them. Iowa, number one, obviously, because we haven't won the Iowa caucuses. People were not taken seriously. You know, we were doing focus groups among African American voters in Columbia and Charleston, South Carolina, knowing that it was one of the first 4 states that was so important. We did those back in 2007. And what we were hearing from African American voters then was, you know, first of all, we don't know all that much about this Obama guy. You know, the African American voters in South Carolina were no different than voters in the rest of the country. We just vaguely remember that he made a speech in 2004 at this convention, which was really cool. We don't know much more about him. But, you know, the thing that they were saying at that point was, white folk will never vote for this guy. You know, and I don't know that I, as an African-American voter in South Carolina, want to invest so much in a candidacy that is going to lose, because whites are never going to vote for him. You know, I don't know that, why do I want to invest my money in, my time, my energy, my emotion, and my money into a candidate that's going to lose again? And when he won Iowa, all of a sudden people are like, whoa!
Right, and you're like, that's what I thought.
So that was a sea change as far as, oh my God, we have a candidate here that actually has a chance of winning. Then when the South Carolina, then you know what happened after that? You know, we all went to New Hampshire thinking it was going to be a slam dunk, and Hillary Clinton came back and won New Hampshire, and actually, in retrospective, that actually made Barack Obama a better candidate, I think, because he didn't have to go on and fight through the primary season. Then we went to Nevada, which was a caucus state, you know, where people in California were very aware of what was going on there, and even though it was kind of a mixed decision, we won more delegates. I have to hurry up here. To get to my answer here. But Nevada was viewed as a victory for Clinton. South Carolina was like going to be the last thing. What happened in South Carolina was that, and we can talk about Bill Clinton and what he said about trying to diminish the candidacy of Barack Obama by saying, you know, Jesse Jackson won South Carolina too. And that mobilized African Americans to the point where they came out in mass. And 95% African Americans in South Carolina voted for Barack Obama in the primary. He won by 40 points, and then all of a sudden this whole climate changed and made him a viable candidate to win the nomination.